this. So, hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today, seeing as it's Friday and this seems to be a running theme, I'm going to come at you with a body mod video. And if you hadn't already guessed by the title, I'm going to be talking about my septum. First thing that I'm going to talk about is the procedure. I say procedure like it's an operation. First thing I'm going to talk about is how it is done. So in your septum, most of it is cartilage, but there's a bit at the top called the sweet spot, and it is just flesh, and that's the bit that they will pierce. To start off, they're going to mark the position in your nose to find that sweet spot, and they will then get a pair of, I don't want to say clamps, but that's pretty much what it looks like. And they will position it on either side of your septum. Now at the top of the clamps, there's a hole, and that hole is for the needle to go through. So once the clamp is positioned over your sweet spot, they will stick the needle through it. And you will have to sit there for a minute or two with the needle going through your nose while they get all the jewellery ready for you. But you know, it's fine, it gives you a moment to sort of take a breather and really think about what you've done. And that's when they will get the jewellery. I'm not too sure what they use to switch it out, but they will take out the needle, and as they do, they will thread through the jewellery. And voila, you have a septum piercing. Depending on who you go to, you may or may not get an option of what jewellery you get. I've had mine done twice, and the first shop I went to, they gave me loads of options. I could have a banana bar, a captive bead ring, a horseshoe ring, an infinity ring. You name it, they offered it. But the second time I got it done, I was just automatically given a horseshoe ring. So if you are given the option, just think wisely about what one you get. If you have to hide it for work, then banana bar, a horseshoe, or even a captive bead ring would probably be the best option for you. The first time I got mine done, I got the captive bead ring, and I didn't know at the time that I wasn't allowed to wear jewellery on my department because I worked on a high risk area and no facial piercings are allowed. So luckily I could take the ball out of the captive bead ring and just flip it up and hide it while it healed. You know, just really consider your options and what position you might be put in at work if you're not allowed it. Now, I first got my septum done back in April of last year, but because of the fact that I constantly had to hide mine, towards Christmas I made the decision to just take it out, because even on my days off I was still hiding it, and at that point it was just like, what was the point of even having the piercing if I never took it out? And so within a couple of days it was healed. And unfortunately for me, a lot of the female YouTubers that I watch have septum piercings, so it was constantly in my face, and I really began to miss having it. So when I got my Medusa done, I thought, fuck it, I'll get my septum done as well. I mean, I wasn't on that high risk department anymore, I had changed, so I could technically have it. And I was kind of grateful that he just automatically gave me a horseshoe ring, because I did hide it from my parents when I first got it, because I wanted them to kind of get over the heart attack at the fact I had just pierced my lip. So, you know, all worked out in the end. For me, the second time round, I was a bit worried about getting my septum re-pierced, because he done it in the exact same place I had it before, which I wanted him to do because I absolutely loved the position it was in. But I was scared that it would hurt a lot more because it was scar tissue at that point, but it hurt the exact same amount that it did the first time. Now I should probably say that I have quite a high pain tolerance, so the only bit that hurts for me is, and this applies to any of the piercings that I've gotten, is when they change the needle for the jewellery. There's always a pinch for me, and that's the only pain I get, but it might be different for you depending on how well you can handle pain. I will say this though, the most painful bit is the aftermath. Avoid touching your nose at all costs. True story here, I once woke myself up in the middle of the night by punching myself in the nose. Talk about a rude awakening. I mean, for the most part, I left mine alone, but there are just some times where you forget that it's pierced because you can't feel it, and then you'll go and itch your nose, and suddenly, just pain. Just all up in this area. Not recommended. Something else that you may be wondering about is price. Now, the second time I went, I did actually look up prices in different shops, and it seems to be around the same kind of ballpark. The first time I got mine done, I paid £40, and the second time, because I went to a completely different shop that was nearer home, it actually ended up being cheaper. It was £30 to get my septum pierced. So I mean, just do your research. I think the highest I ever saw the septum piercing for was £45, and I think that was the limit. But that is something that I will definitely recommend, is that if you're thinking about getting a septum done, A, do your research, look up videos on YouTube, listen to people's experiences, and B, really think about it. Think about how your place of work will react, and maybe also think about how your family will react, because if they don't like piercings and they're going to have an extreme reaction, then either don't get it done, or perhaps get a piece of jewellery that you can hide, as I said earlier. But other than those two, you should be okay. If there's anything else that you want to know, then don't be afraid to ask me in the comments below, or perhaps if you look at videos on YouTube, someone else may have already answered it. But just be very thorough and just look after it properly. I mean, mine took about 2 to 3 weeks to heal, and I cleaned mine twice a day for the first week and once a day for the second and third. The only problem I had, snot build-up, and it's really hard to clean that snot off when your nose is in pain. So definitely be careful of that whilst you're cleaning your nose. Really hope this video has been informative to those of you who are thinking about getting a septum. Getting a septum? I should hope you already have one. I meant getting a septum piercing, and if I haven't been of any help, then I'm sorry. I tried my best. I shall see you guys in my next video. Ta-ra!